Evening, guys. A special pop-up show here. This is the North American Sports Report on the evening of November 1st, 2025. Tonight, this is the Miami Hurricanes football post-game. I just want to clean up some stuff from my listeners. Today on the morning show, just to do a little quick right and wrong segment, I had, in referencing the World Series, I had said that Ohtani had given up 6 runs in 4 innings in Game 4. Obviously, I meant 4 runs in 6 innings. And also when Yamamoto was taking out was so I had messed that one up, and when the other mistake I made was when the Dodgers pulled their pitcher, it was 3-1 last night, not 3-2. When they pulled Yamamoto last night, I said it was 3-2. Obviously, I knew it was 3-1. So my listeners had messaged me and said, "Hey, you made a couple of mistakes, so get that corrected on right and wrong." Ohtani in Game 4 was 4 runs over 6, not the reverse, and Yamamoto was pulled at 3-1 after 6 innings, not 3-2. Which, of course, we knew because I gave the final score of 3-1. So that's a little segment of right and wrong where we clean up a couple of grammatical errors and fumbles we make on the air. And I appreciate my listeners for keeping me straight and always messaging me and letting me know where I slip up. But tonight's show is solely for the Miami Hurricane post-game, and the season ends. The season ends with a 26-20 overtime loss to the SMU Mustangs in Dallas. And I'm speechless. I'm speechless. The Canes dominated this game through much of it. And again, the main story, 12 penalties for 96 yards in this game. 12 penalties for 96 yards. In the last 4 games, the Miami Hurricanes have amassed 37 total penalties. That's over 9 a game. They've had 11 for 84, 12 for 96, 7 for 74, 6 for 35 was the best they did all year. 6 penalties was the best they did in any game all year. 37 penalties in the last 4 games. Mario Cristobal is always telling us how he's going to clean it up. It never gets cleaned up. Today you had him and Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, they're fighting with each other on the sidelines. How many times Shannon Dawson's going to call the same draw play up the middle? SMU was ranked 135th in passing defense. Throw the ball down the frickin' field. Everything was early in the game was a dink, a dunk, another bubble screen, running the ball. Listen, I know we run the ball. We did run the ball for 159 yards today. We like to play bully ball. That's Mario's style, but you have to attack the defense where it is weak. Their weakness is their secondary. Throw the football. Finally, when they did throw the ball down the field, they got a touchdown to JoJo Trader, and they're up 7-0. And they gain control of the game. They drive all the way down the field. They look like they're poised to go up either 10-0 or 14-0. They have a first down at the SMU 29. What do? First, it was false start. Then there was an offensive pass interference. Then there was a holding. Now you're punting. You're not even in field goal range. Typical Miami Hurricanes football under Mario Cristobal. So, it just... Then, Carson Beck throws his first interception of the game. Not his fault. He throws a great ball to Joshua Trader, who bobbles the ball. He bobbles a catch and bobbles it right into the hands of a defensive back, which sets them up at the 25-yard line, leads to a touchdown reception, and it's 7-7. You should have been up 10-0 or 14-0. Now it's 7-7. They drive down the field. Well, they didn't drive down the field. Malachi Tony returns a punt to the 9-yard line. You figure, okay, we're set to go up 14-7 before half. They have a 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. They do nothing with it. They have to settle for a field goal. 10-7. They led only 10-7 at half. They outgained SMU 277 to 120. 277 to 120. And we're only up 10-7. They were dominating play. Dominating. You had penalties. You had drops. You had I'm just, listen. I'm beyond words. You had a drop by Fletcher in the first half. That would have been a first down. You had the drop by JoJo Trader that he basically bobbles right into a defensive back's hands. That wasn't on Carson Beck. Beck had a solid game until he threw the pick in overtime. Beck was seen arguing with his coaches much of the day, frustrated. They call a timeout right at the snap as Beck catches the defense asleep on a wide receiver screen where he threw it to the sideline and he had blocking set up. It would have been a considerable gain. But Mario calls a timeout at the snap. For what reason? I don't know if he thought we weren't going to get the playoff in time. I don't know what he was doing. He called another timeout just as we were about to, in the pivotal part of the game. It's 20-17 late in the game. SMU, after a Bain sack, is 4th and 9. Desperation time. They have no timeouts. The quarterback goes back to pass, but at the snap, in the loud crowd environment, Mario calls a timeout. Their defensive end doesn't hear the timeout, while Bain on the other side pulls up. The other defensive end, who was it? He doesn't pull up, and he smacks the quarterback for a personal foul. And that gives them the first down. That leads to the tying field goal. I'm going to get the guy's name. Who committed the horrendous 15-yard penalty. But you know what? It really was a borderline penalty call, because I'm going to tell you something. The crowd was so loud, the whistle blew, and the kid, he couldn't hear it. First of all, the only reason the whistle blew, Marquise Lightfoot, number 12, was in for Messidor at the other end. Bain and him were converging on the quarterback, but Bain heard the whistle. He stops. Lightfoot doesn't hear the whistle, which was only a whistle because Mario called a freaking timeout. For what reason, I have no idea. And then Lightfoot hits the quarterback, but he does hold him up, trying to stop himself. I thought it was a light call, but that's the final 15 yards, which was basically the nail in the coffin, because they would have won the game in regulation. SMU ends up kicking the tying field goal. And of course, in overtime, Canes get the ball. They move it inside the 5-yard line. And then I think they're at the 7. They had a 1st and goal at the 7. And Carson Beck throws a pick at the 2, which was really Carson's only bad play of the game. He played a solid game in spite of the stupid coaching by his offensive coordinator, Dawson, and the boneheaded moves by his head coach. He was 26 of 38 for 274 yards. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 which was not his fault. JoJo Trader just flat out dropped the ball. And I'm sure Carson Beck is wishing he stayed in freaking Georgia or went to somewhere else. I don't even know if Georgia wanted him. They like their guy Gunnar Stockton, but oh God, so frustrating. This is definitely not water. So yes, Beck throws the pick. Kills the Miami possession. They don't even get a field goal. So now, of course, all SMU needs is a field goal to win the game. And they actually ran the ball 3 times for 25 yards and scored a touchdown. Or I think it was 4 times. They handed the ball 3 or 4 times. They didn't even pass the ball. And they scored on a touchdown. They were at about the 1.5-yard line. And they scored the game-winning touchdown to win the game 26-20 in overtime. And with a second loss, that basically shatters, not basically, definitely shatters the Canes' chances at an ACC berth in the ACC championship game, and pretty much kills any chance they have of going to a playoff. I saw on the TV that they have like an 8% chance if this one loses, that one. The Canes are not going to the playoff. That was the whole mission this year, was to get to the BCS playoffs. You paid Carson Beck $4 million. You recruited well. And your NIL boosters also contributed. You had a roster that was worthy of any national championship team. As good as Georgia, as good as Indiana. You had the same talent. If any, maybe Ohio State has the best talent, but you're right there in the top 4 or 5 teams. There was no excuse. You had the talent to get it done. You don't get it done because you have an undisciplined, poorly coached team. And it's been this way. Listen, I know the first 2 years Mario was rebuilding, he inherited a heap of shit. So it went from 5 wins to 7 wins. Now, you had an NFL quarterback last year. You win 10 games, and I know you had a shit defense. You fixed the defense. Corey Hetterman is the only good coach on the staff. I wouldn't mind if he was the head coach. And you basically pissed away a way better defense that you had this year. You had all the talent. You had the skilled players, the weapons. Another big play in this game is that 17-all, we settled for a field goal because Elijah Lofton drops a touchdown in the end zone where he was, the big tight end. Beck puts it right on him, right on his hands, and he's hit by a way smaller defensive back. And not only does he drop the ball, he lies there like he's dying because he just got hit by a guy half his size, and then he came out of the game. But he drops that ball. Again, we have to settle for 3 instead of 7. Just another just another mistake in a line of mistakes, a litany of errors for the Miami Hurricanes today. From drop passes to turnovers to penalties. They just, again, we said that the Miami Hurricanes down the stretch, their biggest opponent was themselves. That was their biggest opposition, themselves. And they beat themselves. And this is on Mario Cristobal. Him and Shannon Dawson, they could get on the next bus out of town. But I don't think the Canes are going to eat this contract. I think they're going to bring him back next year. And I don't know, where does it end? You have the talent now to compete at the top tier level with the top tier teams. You're not getting the coaching. You're just not getting the coaching. You're not getting the coaching. Malachi Tony, forever, he did everything he can do. The team did rush for 159 yards. They took Fletcher out in the fourth quarter. I think he was dinged up. That's the only logical excuse I could give for it. He had 16 carries for 84 yards, while Tamar Brown added 9 for 37. Lyle added 23. Beck rushed for 17. Tony had 9 catches for 70 yards. He also had the brilliant punt return, which set them up at 1st and goal at the 9-yard line, and they had to settle for a field goal. It was just a putrid effort. They held until overtime, where basically SMU ran 3 plays for 25 yards, and they were all rushing plays and a touchdown. 3 plays, 25 yards, touchdown. They finished the game with 23 yards rushing, and they had 25 of those yards in overtime. Canes outgained them overall 433 to 388. Of course, they did have 365 through the air, but until overtime, they had -2 yards rushing, and you lose this game. Canes had 277 through the air. They had 159 on the ground, 436 yards of total offense to 388 for SMU. Again, like I said, this was a game that the Canes controlled the first half. We're only up 10-7. Didn't quite play as well in the second half, but still had every chance to win the game. They just did not make the plays. And anytime they were in position to make plays, they would shoot themselves in the foot with another critical penalty, one after the other. And we hear from Mario every week how he's going to clean this shit up, and he never freaking does. Never does. And Dawson, With you got a team that's 135th against the pass in SMU, and you're thinking and bubble screen and another wide screen, and let's run the ball up the middle again for the freaking 80th freaking time. I'm telling you what, it's a shame that this team has such a poor coaching staff in head coach and offensive coordinator. Listen, Hefferman's done a great job on the defense, complete turnaround. Jason Taylor, the former Miami Dolphin NFLer, the guy was all-world player in his career. He is a defensive line coach, and they're doing a great job on that side of the ball. I mean, the improvement from last year's night and day, where last year they pissed away a BCS run and an ACC championship game trip because they had no defense, and they basically pissed away the great Cam Ward and that prolific offense they had. This year, they fixed the defense. They have good enough skill players on offense. And I know some of you guys are going to kill Carson Beck. This is not Carson Beck's fault. Okay, I know he played like shit in the Louisville game. But listen, if you're going to commit 11, 12, 9, 10 penalties every freaking game, you're not going to win. And they also play conservative. Mario and Dawson love to play conservative when they think they have the game in control or they think they're controlling the flow of the game. They love to get conservative. Throw the ball down the field when you're playing against one of the worst secondaries in college football. Attack weakness. Strength attacks weakness. That was their weakness. I'm sorry. You guys know, watching this show, North American Sports Report, please subscribe on YouTube. We love to give out our sports picks every week in the NFL and college football. Please subscribe to the North American Sports Report YouTube channel and follow the North American Sports Report on Facebook. You guys know that I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes, and I try to be impartial, but this was tough today because the season is over. You know, even if you go 10-2, you're going to end up in the Lucky Charms frickin' bowl or the Champs Sports Bowl or the freaking, I don't know, whatever the fuck bowl, excuse my language. But, they're just going to go to a bowl game where half the team that's going to the pros will opt out, and it'll be the same bullshit as last year where, we play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Isn't that what we played in last year, the Pop-Tarts Bowl? And that's what we're looking at, unfortunately, because the Miami Hurricanes will not be in the playoffs, the BCS playoffs, and they will not be in the ACC championship game. So that was the goal this year, at least to get in the BCS playoffs. You could have got into the playoff without actually playing in the ACC championship game. You could have got an outright bid. That was the minimal goal, at least. At worst, just to get into the playoffs. And it didn't happen. So the season is a freaking 100% failure. I don't care if they win 9-10 games. That's great for teams like Temple and Maryland. That shit ain't good enough anymore in Miami. Not with the talent they had. So that is the unhappy post game for the Miami Hurricanes. Obviously, the season will play on. They'll be back home next week for Syracuse. And, Mario Cristobal has lost 6 games when favored by double digits in his career as a coach of the Canes. 6 times he has lost games when favored by double digits. That is a horrible statistic. But anyway, that puts a wrap on the season. Obviously, they're going to play it out, and we're going to watch it and hope for the best. But there is next to no chance of the playoffs, and there is no chance of the ACC title game. And that was the whole purpose. That was the cause. That was the plan, and you didn't get it done. And I would really like to see somebody pay for that. But I don't really think they're going to eat his salary. I really would love to see Mario Cristobal on the freaking next freaking boat back to Cuba. Okay? Whatever. Okay? And the next bus out of town. I'm done with Mario. Done. Wish we had a coach like Kirby Smart at Georgia, I don't know. I'm just very, very disheartened. But anyway, Canes fam, sorry for the post game, but I got to tell it like it is. You guys know it. You guys know what the problem is. We got the talent. We don't got the head coach. We don't got the OC. We don't got the head coach, and it's holding us back. Undisciplined football. Undisciplined football team, conservative offense equals no championships. That's it for me tonight. Enjoy the World Series. Game's about to start right now. We corrected some... we did some yard work to start the show, correcting a couple of errors I made on my last broadcast, where I just misspoke. I think most of the time you guys know what I'm talking about and where I'm coming from. You guys enjoy the World Series tonight. It's Ohtani versus Scherzer. First pitch is minutes away. Enjoy the World Series. We'll be on tomorrow morning at 11:30 with our NFL Sunday show and our picks and the whole enchilada. That's it. Good night, Miami Hurricane fans, and I guess we could start dreaming of next year, but, I know the Canes fan is going to root them in every week, no matter what, but the hopes and dreams have been shattered. That's all, guys. Good night. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.